Well riders, KTM are updating their little Dukes for 2024 and honestly we're seeing some pretty nice improvements with the focus of this video being the 390 Duke. If you're a tech head or spec sheet warrior, you'll want to start saving your deposit for the new model now as there's lots to look forward to. I'm going to cover the updates that are adequately covered in the release I received first, then if you want to hang around I'll have a bit of a rant about what seems to have been left out. An interesting update is the move to the 399cc LC4C version of their single cylinder power plant, adding 4mm of stroke but retaining the same bore with a performance increase hinted at but not substantiated. A little internet sleuthing reveals an increase of 1 kilowatt and 2 Nm of torque. Perhaps bigger news is the Euro 5.2 emission standard being met, hopefully future-proofing the Duke's sales. Apparently that's a completely redesigned power plant with optimised head and gearbox, but details are exceedingly light here apart from the claim of being more powerful and lighter. This is backed up by ride modes with street and rain modes, as well as a track screen mode which is tied into launch control. Cornering traction control is now standard and the TFT display has been updated, now running a different 5-inch unit. In track display mode, you guessed it, you just get the basic information you'd need. Add the KTM app and you can sync your phone for music, calls and navigation too, which is of course nice. The Supermoto ABS remains and has cornering functionality too, with Sumo mode allowing the rear to be deactivated for funsies. A new switch block also makes access to the more advanced rider systems easier and is backlit. This decks the 390 Duke out in a more competitive package as far as electronics, with rain mode notably offering a more relaxed throttle response and greater traction control intervention, and will be a big win for the more safety orientated rider when looking at the Duke. The chassis also gets a pretty big overhaul with the new 2-piece trellis steel frame and pressure die-cast subframe, as well as a curved swing arm which makes room for the shock. I've always thought banana style swing arms were much more stylish, so that is a win for me. Benefits according to KTM include better torsional rigidity, enhanced feedback, improved handling and stability, with a new triple clamp in the mix too. A new seat also helps reduce seat height from the previous 830mm down to a more manageable 820mm, although the removal of a spacer can drop that further to 800mm, and you'll see the cutout on the bike where the lowered seat will end up. That's a nice quality of life change for shorter riders. Also on the chassis side of things are the adoption of up-spec 43mm WP Apex forks, now mirroring what we've seen on the Husky 401s and the KTM RC390 for a while, with rebound and compression adjustment clickers on the top of the forks. To be honest, I was kind of shocked to realise the Duke didn't already have this. Likewise, the shock is now the preload adjustable unit with rebound clicker, pushing the 390 Duke up to the top of the class as far as tech and suspension adjustability. Suspension travel is also a generous 150mm front and rear. The brake systems are largely left alone, except some tweaks to include more anodized parts to reduce wear and prevent corrosion, and to be fair, the 4-pot caliper and 320mm front rotor has been the comparison point for the class for a while. Apparently that rear setup has become a twin piston caliper for 2024 though. On the styling front, the tank spoilers are longer and it looks like that headlight is a bit different too, with new external LED position lights. Those spoilers overlap the forks a bit more and the subframe is a much more eye-catching affair, although the newer exhaust is a bit of an eyesore at the muffler if you ask me. The trellis frame is also more packaged away from a side-on view. Obviously I really like the look of the new bike, but I've always liked the more futuristic styling and I'd take the Duke over the RC390 for sure. There's no pricing information available at this stage, but I'd expect a bump over the 2023 with all these improvements. Working to KTM's benefit, and of course their Husqvarna models, is that they are very competitively priced in this segment to start with, meaning they're in a good place whichever way you look at it. For us Aussies, arrival is late Q1 of 2024, January onwards in UK, and September for select markets, with no release shown for North America at this point. But let me know what you think of the new Duke 390 and whether you'll be buying one. On to the rant. On the frustrating front was that KTM launched the Duke updates as what they described as a no BS campaign, only to avoid mentioning what performance gains we could expect from the larger capacity power plant in their official release, although these figures could be gleaned from the KTM website specs panel. And weight figures were strangely absent despite claims of savings in the new engine, and I've seen hugely varying figures reported through non-official channels, the most outlandish being the Duke 390 is 154 kilos wet, fully fueled and matching the previous model. Now considering the 2023 has an official claimed dry figure of 149 or 150 kilos, this is quite a bold claim as a full tank of fuel is 10 kilos alone. Any weight figure is strangely missing from the 2024 listing too. On the other end of things, I've seen some people comparing the new wet figure, sans fuel, of 165 kilos, which seems to have been scraped from the KTM website as being 33 pounds heavier than the outgoing model's 149 or 150 kilos dry. 165 plus fuel would be a real 175 kilo curb figure, but if anything that seems a bit on the high side to me, and a 150 kilo real dry weight would probably land around 165 kilos wet, fully fueled from my very basic estimation, including oil, brake fluids and coolant to make up that additional 5 kilos on top of the fuel. The extra electronics probably add a bit of weight here and there, but a no BS campaign should list bike weight, preferably wet, curb and 90% fueled. The seat height down at 800mm of that 820 and 800mm listed is also mentioned as being an accessory in some reporting, again non-official, but on the KTM site it mentions just removing the standard power parts seat spacer to reach this height, which you'd think would be properly clarified in any model update information, as seat height is just such a big selling point for many, particularly shorter riders, and an adjustable seat height is a very nice quality of life feature, with 820mm being quite tall and 800mm being competitively low. Anyway, hopefully that's not a repeat of what they did with the 390 Adventure, mentioning a seat height that could only be achieved with a pricey to buy and pricey or time consuming to install lowering kit. That's a cool option no doubt, but anything that costs extra needs to be noted as an extra. Anyway, rant over, thanks for watching the video and stay safe out there. If there's a bit of interest in this video, I'll also do one covering the 2024 125 and 250 Dukes, as the loadouts do vary slightly.